Pacers lose to the Cavs. Their energy to start the game, non-existent. They're rebounding. Horrible. Some stuff went okay. They fought back, but you can't overcome a little bit of laziness. We'll talk about it all today. And Garrison Mathews is back on the Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name's Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes and Circle City Spin. And today, Pacers Cavs, a second time in 10 days, both times, to me, very similar. Pacers lethargic early this time. That's their bad stretch. That bad stretch sinks them the whole game, with sprinkles in of other big problems. Ben Mathurin, maybe his worst game of the season, unfortunately. The Pacers couldn't rebound at all. Their possession battle just sunk them in every way in this game. Then we'll talk about Garrison Mathews. He's back and playing good in this game. This was his best game as a Pacer by a mile, and we'll, of course, do what we do at the end and run through the notebook of everything that I think that mattered in this game for you to keep an eye on, or that probably should be discussed in more detail or referenced in the future. Two things cost the Pacers in this game. One was rebounding, which we'll get to second. I very, 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 very rarely, I probably didn't even put enough varies in there, think rebounding is the sole cause of a team's defeat in a game. This was as close as it can get. But I actually don't necessarily want to lead with that, because the trend that had been problematic for the Pacers for a long time this season, including right before their two recent wins, was just one horrible stretch every game. And it used to always be the third quarter, like on their road trip when they were just god-awful. But now it's kind of bounced around and been here and there and everywhere. And in this game, it was the very start of the game. And that is the worst part for it to be. You got to be ready to play. The Cavs are good. I get that the Pacers are playing their fourth and sixth nights, and it's the third and fourth. And the Cavs are on back-to-back. They played Boston at home on Sunday. And this game starts, and it reminds me immediately of the first Pacers-Cavs game in Cleveland. If you guys remember that game, the final score was 120-109. The Cavs won by 11, right? The third quarter was 38-26 Cavs. That's Cavs plus 12. The rest of the game, the Pacers were better. They just were. And even more in that third quarter. The third quarter starts with the Pacers down 7 with 8 minutes and 5 seconds to go in the third quarter. The Pacers are still down 7. And then by the end of the quarter, they were down 100-81. So over 8 minutes, they lost the game. They got outscored by 12 and an 11-point loss. And obviously other parts of the games ebbed and flowed, but that part was so damaging, as you guys have seen for all these Pacers runs this year. This isn't news to anyone, but I have to prove the point. That run was so damaging, it couldn't be overcome by the rest of the ebbs and flows of the game. You could say this for a lot of games, but the Pacers, it is it is to a T their game. Pacers Cavs tonight. Final score 135-119. So the Cavs win by 16 points. Guess how much the Cavs were winning by late in the first quarter? 15. The Pacers start was absolutely terrible in this game. It got to 32-17 Cavs after a Donovan Mitchell 3 with 2:41 to go. That's less than 10 minutes into the game. 9 minutes and 19 seconds. The Pacers were minus 15. And then the rest of the game, they were dead. They were basically dead even, minus 1 point with the Cavs. This game had lots of ebbs and flows too. The Pacers would get it down to 7, and then it would go back up to 20, and then down to 7, and then up to 10, and then down to 7, and then up to 15. The Cavs were always comfortably ahead. They led for the last 45 minutes of this game. I'm not saying that had that stretch gone differently, the Pacers would have won, but I am saying the game was literally on the scoreboard +1 for the Cavs for the final 39 minutes of play. That's almost an even game, but one stretch again was terrible. And this was the worst time for it to happen. It was the start of the game. The Pacers actually quick flipped their starting lineup. We didn't really get clarity on why, because I completely forgot to ask for some reason. It looked like they were going to start Shepherd, and the Cavs went with this huge lineup with Tyson, Wade, Hunter, and Mobley. So then Jarris Walker started, but that group stunk in this game. Quite frankly, the starters were not good to start this game. And it was not obviously the rebounding was bad early, but it was not any one thing that I was like, man, they stink at this. Early in the game, Siakam looked awesome. He was very good in this whole game. He had 26 again. J. Huff sprinkled in a few threes. It's 20-14. You kind of see what the Pacers are trying to do. And then it just felt like they were going through the motions for several minutes. And all of a sudden they're down 15. I mean, this stuff just can't happen, right? And we've asked the players about this, and they've given all their varying opinions on these runs. Today, Pascal Siakam talked about the margin for error the Pacers have. And so to be clear, the thing that makes these runs so frustrating for the team is like in this specific game, they were basically even with the Cavs for 39 minutes. If they had let's pretend they lost by 8. If they had won those 39 minutes, it'd be even more frustrating because that'd be proof to them that they were better than the Cavs. But what makes stretches like this frustrating is they proved for a long time they were as good as the Cavs twice for over 30 minutes of play. But for 2 pockets of just god-awful play, they lost both games by a lot, right? And so these just lethargic, low-energy moments are just terrible. The Pacers starters were -9 in a 16-point loss, right? Like that group was not particularly good. The starters with Garrison Mathews instead of Ben Mathurin are -7. That group was scoring very well. Both the groups were scoring very well. They just couldn't stop the Cavs at all in this game. The Pacers defense was really floaty is how I describe it. Like there were some stretches where it was like, oh, that's really good. They're doing a nice job. They're forcing, the Cavs into some tough shots. The Cavs didn't shoot it particularly well from 3. And then there were some stretches where it's like, oh, they can't stop anything. Donovan Mitchell is killing them. Jalen Tyson is balling. They had some nice bench performances from ex-Pacer Thomas Bryant. Tyrese Proctor hit some threes, right? Like that. There were ebbs and flows to every NBA game, and that was true of the Pacers defense in this game. What really did not ebb and flow was reason number 2. I felt like the Pacers lost this game, and this is a new one. This is a new way for them to lose this year. The glass. They got hammered on the boards. 19 offensive rebounds for the Cavs. It's not even like a particularly damaging number. I mean, I've seen 20 plus. I've seen teams win giving up 20 plus offensive rebounds because sometimes a team getting a lot of offensive rebounds means they're missing a lot of shots because they're being defended well. The Pacers weren't defending well or rebounding well in this game, which makes it a double whammy. And the Cavs win the rebounding battle 36-48, so +12. They were +5 on the offensive glass. And they were feasting. They were like easy sometimes. Jalen Tyson was all over them. Donovan Mitchell got 3. Craig Porter Jr. got 2. Naquan Tomlin was all over him. Luke Travers was all over him. So 3 of those guys I just said are the tricky ones to actually talk about, right? And it's really 2. Jalen Tyson was around the basket, but Donovan Mitchell and Craig Porter Jr. combining for 5 offensive rebounds. Those guys aren't like so great at boxing out or tagging up or anything. The Cavs took 43s, and some of them bounced long. That happens. Okay, I'm not going to kill the Pacers for that. But that, if you watch the game, was like 4 of those out of the 19. The other 15 were just – there were multiple times in this game. A Cavs miss came off the rim. It lands in the paint or close to the paint, and the Pacers are around it, and they're looking at it, and a Cavs guy got it. Like, go get the ball. And it wasn't happening for the Pacers in this game. Their technique was very poor on rebounds. The Cavs' will on the glass was just more. It just was. And it was very costly. The number that sums it up, I think, perfectly is 28. That is the Cavs' second chance points in this game. To the Pacers' credit, they themselves did well converting off their offensive rebounds. The Pacers had 25 second chance points. The Cavs had 28. That Cavs number is the most the Pacers have allowed in a game this season by 5. Their previous high was their loss against the Utah Jazz. They also gave up 21 in their loss in Golden State, 19 to Toronto, 19 to Denver, 19 to Memphis. They lost these games. They actually gave up quite a few to Charlotte. And that Charlotte game was something I said earlier. If you defend well but give up offensive rebounds, it's because you're forcing a lot of misses. They won that game anyway. This game was not that. They gave up a season-high second chance points, and it was very clear that rebounding was a problem for them. And let's double down on this kind of trend. It didn't really shake out as strong as it got at points, but it still ended pretty strong. The free throw attempts in this game, the Pacers took more, 37-29. That's going to, and I'm not saying anything about officiating. Let me finish the whole point. So that's going to chew into your shot difference a little bit, but between the +12 rebounds for the Cavs and then the Pacers had 14 turnovers, that's a little high, but that's like manageable. The Cavs only had 8. So the Cavs dominated the possession battle. I mean, the rebounding was the bigger force there, but that meant the Pacers, who shot 48%, that's pretty good for them this season. Very good for them this season. They took 13 fewer shots than the Cavs. That is almost impossible to overcome, even if you make 6 more free throws. So they just did it to themselves with some low-effort rebounding, some floaty defense, a horrible start, and I mean insurmountable possession gap thing in this game. I don't even think it was all bad for the Pacers. 119 is a healthy score. They got to the line. They had good play from Nembhard and Siakam. Their bench was okay despite McConnell barely playing. We'll talk about that later. Right, a lot of stuff that they could be like, yeah, cool. Like that's kind of continuing on a trend, but they were defending really well of late. That didn't happen. Their lineup with Huff and the starters has been pretty good. McConnell wasn't a part of it in this game. He's been awesome for them recently. So just a lot of their trends of late were not present in this game for either injury reasons or for performance reasons, and it cost them. The Cavs just blew them out of their own gym. Pacers are 4-17 now. If you're a listener who wants the Pacers to tank, great night for you. The Wizards won. The Nets won. The Pacers lost. The only one that you particularly would not like is the Hornets losing to the Nets, to be clear. I think the Jazz also won. Basically, the Mavs won. Basically, everybody but the Clippers was a good night if you're a Pacers tank fan. Regardless, a lot of people are not, and the Pacers lost, and they played worse. And one shining thing, Garrison Mathews, best game by far. Why did the Pacers even re-sign him? I got that question asked to me in a YouTube comment before the game even happened. I was going to talk about it anyway, and then he played well enough to kind of merit a full segment, kind of not. Ethan Thompson debuted. What else happened in this game that matters? We'll get to the notebook later. It's all coming up here on Locked On Pacers. Before we get to any of that stuff, we got to talk about FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play. Suddenly, everything feels very different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You are not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is the best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scorers, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. That's on FanDuel. The game moves fast, and so can you. We are back here on Locked On Pacers. Thanks for making us your first listen today and every single day. Your second listen, Locked On Cavs, Danny Cunningham. A lot of you did not enjoy Danny Cunningham from the playoffs. Some of you did. But he was in Indy for the game. We chatted. We went to Harry and Izzy's together, actually. And you can hear him talk about the Cavs getting back on track. They'd been playing quite poor recently. Donovan Mitchell was spectacular in this game. Spectacular. 43 points. I mean, I don't know how people feel about Donovan Mitchell generally among the fan base. He is in that tier of guys to me that even in the Pacers beating them in the playoffs, earned so much of my respect by either playing hard, playing unstoppably well, or just looking really good. He was so good for the Cavs in the playoffs last year and was good again tonight, nearly notching a double-double as he played long into the game for some reason. Okay, Pacers signed a player on Tuesday, Monday? I can't remember what day of the week it is. Monday. Garrison Mathews is back, which actually is, I guess surprising might be the wrong word, but just like not something I saw coming, especially after the Ethan Thompson move the Pacers made with their two ways on Sunday. Part of my thinking of why they would have just not randomly, but why they would have done that is to get another kind of like reserve off-ball guard wingy type player because they were losing Matthews and they were getting healthier. Instead, they get another hardship, which we'll get to what that means in a second, and they use it to keep Matthews. So the immediate reaction, and by the way, when I talked about Matthews over the weekend, he did not play well on his first 10-day. Garrison Mathews would look you in the eyes and say, I did not play well on my first 10-day with the Pacers. He was 2 for 13 from the field, all of which were threes. He had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, a block, 2 turnovers, and 3 fouls. 9 points in 5 games, right? Like it was like, and his defense was like, ugh, at times. It was really yucky in that Bulls game that they won. No, was it the Wizards game? One of the two, whatever. Like he did not play well, right? So immediately people were like, why did they do that? Why did they just keep this guy? He didn't play well for the team. And I'm not going to sit here and say he played well. He didn't. But I do think it's reasonable to be like, hey, he has a whole career of a track record that's not the same as what he just produced. And he should be judged more on what he produced for your team. Like that has fit reasons involved, that has their most recent level of play involved. But I do understand being like, hey, this guy's been like, a 38+% shooter the last, couple years of his career. Like across 2 seasons with Atlanta, he took 411 threes and made 41% of them. And like, you don't just throw that away because a guy goes 2 for 13, but he did play poorly, to be clear. So I do think that his career played a factor in it. And that's basically what Carlisle said when I asked him pregame, is like, yeah, like the stats don't matter. We think he's going to, get it going. I'm paraphrasing a bit. I'm trying to find the exact quote. Yeah, he said he's an NBA player with an NBA skill. He has gravity. The stats will take care of themselves. That was correct. That did happen. So Garrison Mathews, first of all, it's a 10-day hardship. It's the last 10-day he can sign. with the Pacers. You can only sign 2 at the same team. Because he signed a hardship, that means at least 4 of the following 5 players are out for 2 more weeks. Tyrese Haliburton, duh, we know that. Obi Toppin, duh, we know that. And then 2 more of Aaron Nesmith, Cam Jones, and Johnny Furphy. It's possible it's all 3, but if you made me guess, because Furphy practiced with the G League, it'd be Cam Jones and Aaron Nesmith. So keep an eye on them being out until December 10th to 15th-ish for sure. We'll see about the others, which one of it potentially it was not. But again, Furphy went to a full practice with the G League team. So Garrison Mathews was back, and I think they just valued his entire career of work, and they're a terrible shooting team, and he's a good shooter, or at least had been a good shooter, but was not for them. And then today he lit it up and did 2 things that he is particularly good at. One is make threes. He made all 3 of his threes in this game. By the way, I love when this happens. Garrison Mathews entering this game, his 3-point percentage this season at 2 for 13, 15.4%. His 3-point percentage now this season is 31.3%. By making all 3 in this game, he's now up to 5 for 16. I can do math. 5 for 16, which is still not awesome, but you double your 3-point percentage in a game. That's a good thing. He was moving well on offense. Rick Carlisle closed the first half with him on the floor, and he deserved it. They didn't do well in his minutes overall. His defense is still very suspect, right? 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal. He's not producing much besides the shot, but he had the 3rd most points on the team for a reason. He got the 3s up and he made them. And he also twice did the Garrison Mathews special, which if you see him shoot, you can see this. I had to ask him to figure it out. When he shoots his jumper, it's like he lands forward and slightly to the side, whatever works. If you're making as much as he does, whatever, or at least historically. And that means he gets fouled a lot. Guys kind of shuffle their way into his landing zone a lot. One of them was a flagrant in this game. He only made 2 of those 3, but the Pacers got the ball back. That's one of his best skills. I think Caitlin Cooper tweeted, I saw it during the game that she shared it. That's James Harden's first, and Garrison Mathews is second in terms of fouls drawn on 3s over a somewhat sizable amount of time sample in the NBA. That's how he draws his fouls with an insane 3-point attempt rate. And I'm explaining a player that's already been on a team for a while. 100% of his shots of the Pacers have been 3s. About 85% the last 2 years with the Hawks. And it's still, his free throw rate's moderately good. For his career, it's 33%. Of late, it's in the high to mid 30s, which is still good. The fact that he can get to the line that much is from a jumper is impressive. And so this game was what the hope for Garrison Mathews was the first time that they signed him, right? That he could actually be a shooter and give them a new element that they've been missing on a team that can't make anything, right? Without him in this game, they were 7 for 27 from deep. And all 7 of those, by the way, came from 3 players. Jay Huff made 3, Ben Mathurin made 2, Andrew Nembhard made 2. Everyone else a big 0 for 5 for Jarris Walker, 0 for 3 for Siakam, 0 for 2 for Shepard, 0 for 3 for Robinson Earl, and Ethan Thompson and Taylor Peter both missed 1 in garbage time, right? 4 guys made 3s to the Pacers in this game, and one was the guy they signed to shoot. He made them. So the reason they signed, so people ask why they signed him after he played poorly, and I could not answer with he played well enough to deserve it, right? Jeremiah Robinson Earl played great on his first 10 day, and he got another one. That did not happen for Mathews, but clearly, given the way Carlisle answered the question, they valued his main skill that got him to this point in the NBA enough to want to try that again. And of course, the other thing I would remind people of is hardship signing. I just wrote a story on this. I think it's interesting if you want to read it, is the hardest possible situation to join a team. If you sign a normal 10-day, you are not expected to play immediately. If you're traded to a team, you often don't play in that first game. You get up to speed with your new franchise. If you sign a hardship 10-day, that means you are joining a team that is so injured, they need healthy bodies. And so the expectation is that you're going to play, and the hope is that you produce right away. And that's almost unfair. I remember last time the Pacers played the Cavs in Cleveland, Andrew Nembhard said after the game, yeah, sometimes we have new guys who don't quite know the plays, right? So Garrison Mathews, his first 10 days, he didn't know the plays. He doesn't know. I'm not saying he did or didn't know the plays, but he knew them less than everybody else. And he doesn't know the tendencies of these guys. He just joined the team. And again, you should be graded on how you play. He did not play well in that setting, but it's a very challenging setting. And with more time, and lo and behold, for this one game, this came to be true. With more time and reps, you should be better. And I even said that in my story I wrote about the signing. He did not play well. but more should be expected of him on the second deal. I'm trying to find my exact wording, which I should have put. I'm very, very bad recently on this podcast. I apologize of not having the tabs open that I need to have open. Regardless, he did play better. The Pacers get to be vindicated in that way. So we'll see who the four guys who are out are going to be. But Garrison Mathews now with the team. And to be clear about this too, the schedule lines up in a way that basically this takes him through the break that they'll have for the NBA Cup. And then they don't play until they play December 8th on a Monday. Then they don't play till a Friday in Philly. They'll have 4 days, but really 3 full days off between games in that stretch. Then they play the Wizards on that Sunday, the 10th. And then after that, they don't play till Thursday, the 18th against the Knicks. That's another 3 days between games, which is all gobbledygook to say. They can get healthy in that time. That's after Matthews' deal expires. You just need one more guy for this stretch. If you actually believe in him, why not do it again? And to be clear, the exact line I wrote was, with more time to acclimate, better performances should be expected. Lucky me. I was right. He proved me right away. We'll see if this continues. If it does, he probably should play like maybe more than Jeremiah Robinson-Earl, because they need the shooting that bad. I think Robinson-Earl's better. He's a good rebounder. He can guard. In this game, they played Garrison Mathews much more than him because he could shoot, and they needed to shoot to catch up. We'll see if this holds, because his first group of games were not particularly good. Oh, I have one more note on him, maybe 2 more. I'm all over the place. In this game, Garrison Mathews in the second quarter had 10 points. On his first 10-day contract total, he had 9. Right. A much better game. We'll see what holds from this. They play Denver. In 2 days, they play Jokic. That game's going to be all Denver's pace. Can Garrison Mathews break out of it? We will see. And we're going to close this one up by doing the notebook. We're opening the notebook, talking about everything else that happened in Pacers Cavs that you need to know. It's all coming up here to close out today's Locked On Pacers. But first, everybody, I need to tell you about PrizePicks. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. The holiday season, one of the best times for sports, bowl games, big basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once, and we're all making choices every day. One of the most fun places to make the right call is PrizePicks. The easiest way to get in on daily fantasy. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections. Lock in your lineup, and you are in the game. It's simple, fast, and available in 45 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. They've added an extra layer of excitement to holiday sports schedule. You can create a lineup in less than a minute. The app and the process is very smooth and intuitive. You can choose from a ton of unique stats: fantasy score, field goals attempted, free throws made, turnovers, whatever fits your strategy. The early payout feature is a great bonus. So if your lineup starts strong, you can cash out early. Their stacks feature lets you choose the same player up to 3 times in one lineup. For like a QB, you can pick yards, touchdowns, and rushing yards. Deposits and withdrawals are quick and easy. Keeps everything flowing. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. And we are back here on Locked On Pacers. Thanks for making us your first listen today and every single day. Your second listen, crazy night. Truly crazy. Look, Google NBA scores when you stop driving, if you're listening in the car, or if you are just at your computer. Look who won these games. Pistons-Hawks was a 1-point game late. The Pistons snuck it out. Wizards beat the Bucks. Nets beat the Hornets. It's not that weird. Heat clobbered the Clippers. The Clippers benched their starters after a 30-2 run. Magic squeak it out against the Bulls. The Mavs win in Denver. Little Nemhard went crazy. The Suns win in LA against the Lakers, and the Jazz beat the Rockets on the same day. The same day. And the Pacers got smoked by the Cavs. That's probably the most normal game of the night. Your second listen could be anything of those other crazy games. And thank you for being an everydayer. If you listen every day and you're a part of the Everydayers Club, thank you so much. We have an ad-free version, I believe, of Locked On Pacers coming very soon as a part of our Everydayers Club initiative. So that's very fun. Okay, let's talk about a lot of other stuff from this game. Oh, man, this game was weird. Different starters from the jump really threw me off with Garrison there. And then the McConnell thing happened. TJ McConnell played less than 6 minutes in this game, and Rick Carlisle did talk about a post-game. I would not call it a concern. He said that TJ McConnell experienced some soreness after the back-to-back the Pacers played this weekend at 3 and 4 nights for him. And remember, he dealt with that hamstring thing earlier this season. And so McConnell warms up today. He feels okay. But right when the game started, he didn't really feel right. So Carlisle just kept him out. And he said, quote, "There's no injury or anything like that," unquote. So I would not be worried about this if I'm you, and I'm a big fan. But obviously it hurt to not have him. Right, in a game where they were lethargic at times. You would love to have TJ McConnell playing in the game. So much of this game just became weird, right? The different starters were the part of it, but then all of a sudden you look and you're like, wait, the lineup is Jarris Walker, Ben Shepherd, Robinson-Earl, Mathews, and Huff, huh? Now, the Cavs lineup at that time was also so stupid. It made no sense. And the Pacers won that stretch. Siakam and Nemhard returned at the same time as Mobley and Mitchell. And the Cavs lead is smaller. Like, credit to that group for playing well. But this game just got weird as a result. The Pacers at halftime of this game, speaking of weird, were shooting a better percent from the field, but had 17 fewer shot attempts. They were down big. So this game just has another, like, what are we even talking about kind of thing where I'm like, I'm really analyzing this team. I want to know what's going on. I'm trying to learn about all these players, who's going to be around, who's not in the future, all that, blah, blah, blah. And then you look and it's like, okay, there's Ethan Thompson, Robinson, Earl Matthews, Taylor Peter, and Tony Bradley. Like, no one thought those guys would be on the team. It's hard to read into a lot of that stuff, but it all matters. You get to evaluate those players in that setting. Congrats to Ethan Thompson. First day on the Pacers, first day in the NBA, or on an NBA floor. He debuted. He was on a two-way with the Magic last year, but did not play in a game. His first 7 minutes, his first 2 NBA points, I saw him with the game ball in the Pacers locker room, well earned. I have no analysis of the things that he did, but that was that ragtag group that was, I mentioned earlier, that cut into the deficit. Rick Carlisle called them, quote, hard playing guys. They did need hard play, and that group played hard and cut into the lead, which was good. Siakam was awesome again. I mean, it's just impossible to state how good he's been. His stats are fantastic. The Pacers record is the only thing that might get in his way of being an all-star, because production wise, he's been just lights out. He had some excellent defense in this game. He stopped Evan Mobley a few times and some baskets that Evan Mobley can and probably should honestly be scoring. Mobley goes 6 for 13 in this game for 13 points. And then Siakam, of course, 26 points of his own with 7 rebounds and 2 assists. But that play he stopped Mobley's in all caps for me, because Ben Shepherd just doesn't box out any part of Jalen Tyson, who just gets a rebound and scores with ease. But then Siakam scored on the next trip, which was my notes to say Siakam was great. And at times it felt like he was just alone out there, like getting no help, not enough support at all. Speaking of Ben Shepherd, weird game. He had a horrible, ugly turnover. Tried to throw it to Mathurin and just launched into the backcourt. He actually had that Pacers' highest plus minus. His energy and defense did, in fact, help the Pacers in a bad game. He didn't make a thing, and he had 2 not good turnovers. But the same thing that I've been saying with Shep for a while happened in this game. One possession, he gets stuck on DeAndre Hunter, and Hunter was just too big for him. Hunter just moved him towards the basket and turned it scored. Then the very next possession, he shuts off Craig Porter Jr.'s water and gets a stop. So Ben Shepherd can be a good defender, especially on guards, but there's a certain height or bulk that if a player's above that, Ben Shepherd just can't guard them very well. I think LaMelo Ball is the line. Basically, if you're shorter or skinnier than LaMelo, Ben Shepherd can guard you. If not, yikes. But his horrible turnover, despite being a relatively stabilizing player in this game, was really, really rough. Speaking of rough, unfortunately, Ben Mathurin's worst game of the season. He came alive a little bit in the second half, which is still only led to 11 points on 9 shots, 4 boards, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, 3 fouls. His minutes did not go well, really, on either end of the floor. He barely played in the second quarter after starting it a little slow. Mathews ends up closing the half. He didn't play enough to get in a rhythm, but he didn't deserve to play that much more because he couldn't make anything. He couldn't really get to his spots. The Cavs made life really hard for him. He got some more rhythm going to start the third quarter, but 0 for 2, 2 turnovers, 2 fouls was his first stretch of the game. I'd call that his worst game of the season. Nembhard, though, a little better. 21 points for him on 7 of 11. Made both of his threes, 5 for 6 from the line, 6 assists. I thought he played pretty well on the offensive end, but not as good on the defensive end as the Pacers would have hoped. However, he had a nice, lovely pass fake backwards in the lane to open up a basket for himself. He just felt very calm to me. Like, I'm not saying he's like frantic all the time, but he just felt like he was moving, and I mean this in a complimentary way, a little bit slower and more deliberate in this game to kind of get to spots that he wants and not just like pound hard dribble with speed to try to get there. And I just thought that was interesting, the way that he played in this game. 21 points on 11 shots is obviously extremely noteworthy. 2 more notes. One is on a Cavs player. Donovan Mitchell was just amazing. I already talked about this. He had a pick and pop in the fourth quarter on the right wing, and he just popped out to the ring, and he was wide open. And that's just another like floaty defense, like I mentioned for the Pacers. No attention to detail. How can you lose Donovan Mitchell in a 43-point game and leave him wide open? And of course, he drove the 3. Another play that was funny. Shout out to Tony Bradley. He's been rock solid when he's needed for the Pacers this year. He had 3 for 6 in this game, albeit only playing in garbage time. He had a turnover in this game where he was sprinting down the lane, making a great play to get open in the paint. And he gets the pass from I forget who, and he turns to whip it over to the left wing. And I've never seen Tony Bradley throw a pass running this fast. And now we know why he threw it out of bounds. But I'd like to give him a lot of credit for trying to make that kind of play, given what we have seen his skill set to be throughout his career. Tony Bradley, again, was I mean, he's probably the best player in their garbage time group. He played very well down the stretch, but his minutes have been reduced to, unfortunately, just that. Given how his season went, the Pacers centers have been better than him of late and deserve the minutes they are getting. That is all from Pacers Cavs. If you're still listening at this point, let me know in the comments. Do you like this notebook section where I organize all my notes into categories and, okay, I want to talk about this guy, this thing, or is it just gobbledygook nonsense to you? I'm happy to change up the formats for these post-game shows. Thank you guys so much for listening today. Tomorrow, we'll talk with Derek Kramer. He'll be back for the first time during the season. Pacers quarter of the way through. What have we learned about this team? What do we still need to learn about this team? What will the second quarter look like, which will get us pretty close to the trade deadline? Then, of course, Pacers Nuggets. The day after that, we'll have another guest Thursday and a Friday talking about who knows what. Lots of stuff happening with this team worth discussing. Thank you all so much for listening today. You can find me on social media at Tony R. Reese and this podcast at Locked On Pacers. Till tomorrow, everybody, have a wonderful day.